What's going on, boxing fans? Julian Williams here at the distance. Got a video for you guys. This one's going to be a prediction for this upcoming bout between WBO light heavyweight bout between Nathan Cleverly and Tony Bellew. Bout takes place this Saturday in the UK for the WBO light heavyweight championship. Puts together the challenger Tony Bellew versus the champion Nathan Cleverly. Overall, what you have is pretty much a fight with two guys that are somewhat young in their careers. Nathan Cleverly is 22-0 with 11 knockouts. And Tony Bellew is 16-0 with 10 knockouts. One thing to look at is the number of rounds boxed. Of course, Bellew's going to have the higher knockout percentage than Cleverly, but Cleverly beats him in rounds boxed. Cleverly at least fought, I believe, more than 50 rounds, about 52 more rounds than Bellew has in his entire career. But something also that stands out with both of them is they both have fought to 12 rounds twice, but Nathan Cleverly, even though having 6 more fights, even though he has 6 more fights, he has significantly more rounds, 50 more rounds than Bellew, which means that Cleverly, even though he's about 5 years younger, he's going to be a lot more poised later down the stretch than Bellew. So pretty much also, there is a bit of an age gap I'm not going to get into because it has no significance on this fight, but why the hell did I say that? Anyway, let's go back to the fight. Nathan Cleverly versus Tony Bellew. Tony Bellew, pretty much, he's a tall fighter. He's about 6'2". He stands tall. Has a solid left jab. It's not necessarily the educated left jab, but he has a solid left jab. Sets up other combinations. He rolls his shoulder up top to avoid a jab defensively, but he doesn't answer back. But pretty much what he does well is offense. He's an offensive guy. He's not a guy that squares up. I believe I read somewhere he had 80-inch reach. He doesn't look like he has an 80-inch reach, but he does stand tall. He doesn't bend down or anything unless he's throwing a hook, because he lunges down horribly. But in this fight for Nathan Cleverly has good hand speed. He knows how to kind of hit that target. He has that mover's jab. It's kind of like what Corey Spinks had back in the early thousands, earlier in his career. He had that mover's jab. He had that mover's jab to where he positioned himself to where he can land that jab. And it doesn't necessarily set up anything, but it primarily is used to disrupt an opponent and have him think twice about trying to set up an offense. And also, it looks good to the judges if you jab as quickly as Nathan Cleverly. So in this fight, Nathan Cleverly wants to fight small. This is a fight where he wants to fight small due to the fact that he has a taller opponent that lunges down horribly. He lunges down. He lowers his right hand. He's going to be susceptible to Nathan Cleverly's left hook. And this one, since, due to the fact that you have a fighter lunging down, like I said, he wants to kind of lunge down. I mean, he wants to lunge down himself. He wants to try to make Bellew, he wants Bellew to come down a little more and try to, jab more, downward, so that it leads to an opening up top, so that Nathan Cleverly can land his left hook up top and land it clean, because he doesn't cover up, pretty much the right side of his face when he lunges down. He kind of forgets his defense when he lunges down. Also up the middle is going to be pretty much the bread and butter for Nathan Cleverly, because it just seems as if, even though Bellew doesn't square up, Nathan Cleverly, it just seems as if jabs can get in. He protects himself all right from the jab, but what about that punch after the jab? I think he needs to try to hit him with the right hand inside. I think the right hand inside could be a bread and butter punch. Because Cleverly's going to square up. He's going to square up when he's standing in front of you. But, when he's on the outside, he doesn't square up. So I think that, he needs to try to get him with a counter shot in the middle. Counter shot in the middle of the left hook. Those are going to be the 2 punches to look for. Probably a counter right hand, and a left hook. Those are going to be the significant punches. And and pretty much try to maintain a high work rate to where he's able to capitalize on the mistake that Bellew isn't a guy that will throw punches back instantly. You know, you can throw punches and miss, and he's not gonna throw back. That's just the kind of temperament that Bellew has. Bellew, on the other hand, Bellew is gonna have to try to keep Cleverly at the end of his jab. He's gonna have to fight tall, keep his punches straight, and keep Cleverly at the end of those punches. And pretty much he needs to utilize the ring. I think a smaller ring might be to Bellew's advantage, because he would probably have to do less work, and Cleverly might have to do more work to get inside, more so than a bigger ring, to where Cleverly could set him up with little traps to get himself inside, and just bang away at him. I think that this is just a fight. If it's a smaller ring, Bellew just needs to has to keep him at the end of his punches. He needs to stand tall the entire fight, not lunge down. Kind of like that old Foreman thing, where Foreman would come in, he'd throw a lot of punches, but there would be those instances where he would lunge down and get hit with something, significant. I just think that in this one, he does want to try to find a way to counter Nathan Cleverly's power shots. He wants to find a way to get inside, not get inside, but stay on the outside and find a way to counter Cleverly's power punches. And not only his power punches, but he doesn't want Cleverly to get any type of work rate against him, because Cleverly does have a good work rate, and also he does want to throw his jab first. But if Cleverly gets his jab in first, he wants to return the jab, so it disrupts him as well. So who I think is going to win this fight? I'm going to go with Nathan Cleverly in 10 rounds. I think Cleverly is the better fighter. He has a better technique, and I think he's going to be aggressive coming in. And you have to be aggressive with a fighter like Bellew, who, like I said, more than likely will not throw back. He has that tendency to throw back or throw punches when he's in full control. And I think that Cleverly is the type of fighter with good hand speed, decent power, and enough zip on the punches. I think he's just the type of fighter that could be in complete control in this bout and pretty much beat him in 10 rounds. I'm going to go with a 10-round stoppage for Nathan Cleverly, retain the WBO light heavyweight belt. So, peeps, I'm out of here. That was The Distance. Peace.